This is Don't Start Me Talking.
Don't start me talking.
Why do you fucking do that?
I don't know.
Why do you do that?
I feel compelled to do it.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
It's like blinking. It just
Why?
It happens.
Why? Excuse me, William. Excuse me. Excuse me, William.
He's like one of those mountain goats that
Thank
just
you.
like goes up a perilous cliffside.
This is where I sit, because I'm a fucking person.
Barely. Got you. You got roasted right there. Roasted like this pepper. It's not roasted. It's not roasted right now, but in its timeline it will be. It will be just like you, and then you can like come together, and you can be like it will be a support group for you. You and that pepper, because it matches your shirt.
You're trying too hard.
It matches your shirt.
You're trying too hard.
Fuck you.
You're trying too hard. Is your phone on silent?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's on silent. Who cares anymore?
This is what happens. Just threw it on the floor. That's your only lifeline to the world.
I threw it on the couch and it bounced off the couch and landed on the floor.
You have no other fine technical niceties. That's your only one.
I have a Nintendo Switch Lite. It was $89 cheaper on Amazon, so I bought it.
I guess this is the third time we've tried to do this podcast.
Third time.
This is the third episode.
Third episode, third time. Third time's the charm, as they say.
Yeah. This is the third time we've tried to record this one, though.
Yeah.
It got really heated and contentious. I actually just deleted the old one without looking at it. Yeah. Want to talk to
That's about as legible as he'll be today.
So we're talking today.
Yes.
About we're gonna try to keep it light, because the last time we just talked about like bad things.
Bad things.
But we're gonna be talking about trips, traveling,
trips,
regular trips.
You're wearing the shirt for it. That's a traveling man's shirt.
I don't know what you mean. But we're going to talk about different trips that we've taken.
Yes.
In this podcast, I'm Bennie Williams.
And I'm Rick Owens.
And this is Don't Start Me Talking. So on the podcast today, we're going to talk about some of our favorite trips.
Yes.
Some fun stuff. And try to keep it light.
Yeah.
And not just shit talk people who are terrible at taking trips with other people. Present company included.
Oh. You just did it.
So
you just did the thing you
I'll
said.
start. I got a fun one that I didn't tell last time.
Go ahead.
I was traveling down to Washington, D.C. because for one semester I was in Washington, D.C. for school. And I took the train. And a friend of mine who was also going down from the same school also took the train. And we're traveling down, and the conductor is, this short, stout lady who, just coming around, hey, need to see tickets. So we got the paper tickets at that point. We show her, whatever. She goes back 2 seats, and she says to the guy, sir, your stop is coming up. Be ready for it, because we have to get moving. And the guy is just, whatever. He's sleeping on 2 coach seats. He's like sprawled out. And so, we get one stop closer, and she comes back and she goes, hey, sir, your stop is next. So be ready, like have your bag ready, this and that. He's like, I don't have a bag, blah, blah, blah. Just, sits there. And we're getting nervous because like it's becoming a more tense situation for some reason.
It's like a secondhand nervousness for this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're on the train, and we're just sitting there. Me and my friend, we're like looking at each other like side eye, like, what the fuck do we do? I don't know. And we just kept talking. So at a certain point, he gets to his stop, and the conductor just comes back on the train, and there's somebody putting their bag up they just got on, and she goes, excuse me, sir, I have to get this drunk off my train, and just charges down the aisle, picks him up by the scruff of his collar, and throws him off the train. Wonderful.
That's a badass woman right there.
For the for the entire rest of the trip, we were relieved because like that guy's no longer in the car.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, thank God. But then it's also like you never get to see that.
No, you never. Well, in DC you do.
I suppose
that's a very DC reaction to have. Is like you get two.
Yeah.
You get two, and then you get scruffed and thrown out like a drunk in a cartoon.
Yeah, and it was literally that. He got thrown off the train. Like, we watched from the window as he got thrown off, and it was really funny.
Did he bounce on his butt as he did and, like,
no,
papers everywhere?
face first.
Ooh.
Face first.
Into the concrete gravel.
Yeah, no, like, on the platform.
Got that fucking gravel rash.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh.
And then, conductor comes back in, and she's like, I'm so sorry you guys had to see that. And we were like, no. You don't need to be sorry about anything. That was fantastic.
We had like in-train entertainment.
Right.
Yeah. Is that what they call it? Like in-flight entertainment? When you up in the plane. What do you call it in the train?
In-car entertainment.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. We have all taken them to travel.
Oh yeah. I've always loved flying. I know that it's a hassle for a lot of people, but. I love the train a lot more, though.
Oh, train's great.
Because train, not as motion sick.
Yeah.
There's less of a risk that you're going to just plummet out of the sky and,
There's almost no risk that you'll plummet out of the sky.
Right.
Unless you're going over one of those bridges that's only in, like, Wile E. Coyote movies.
And the other thing is, like, with cars, you have to deal with other drivers. Like, we just got back from Wakefield, and driving around Rhode Island is a nightmare because nobody knows what they're doing. People just pull out randomly
and school just started, so that throws another fucking big fucking wrench into the gears.
Oh yeah, every school zone, because then I'm trying to go whatever it is, 20 or 25 depending on the one.
Yeah.
And every car behind me is like, "Come on!" And it's like they're kids. They're back at school. Like we can't run them over. And that's where all the cops are posted up. So what are you trying to do?
If road travel was a motor, normally you'd want like that electric one,
sure,
like a nice smooth one. Rhode Island is one of those older ones that's like,
yeah, like a jalopy. Yeah,
like that's
just awful.
It's infuriating. Hello, William.
Hi.
Welcome back
I thought
again.
That we kicked you off the table.
This is William. He is my cat and my friend, but he will be going away. Say hello to the fans.
That's him, Lil Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson. Bastard.
So yeah, but you got a traveling tale?
Yeah, I do.
Traveler's Tales.
So, buckle your seatbelts, folks, because we're taking a flight, and we're taking a flight over to the Emerald Isle. Yeah, we're going to Ireland. We're going to Ireland because I have a lot of family over there. My mother is from Ireland, from Wexford County. Shout out Wexford. And I haven't been in a couple years. It's going on 5 now, which is sad to me. But
I understand that Ireland looks a bit like a teddy bear.
It does. It looks like a teddy bear on its side. We'll put up an image. Bam. And Wexford County is on the ass of the bear.
Yes.
So very south, it's fucking beautiful. They have strawberries. They have strawberries there.
I thought you were talking about the store that got replaced by FYE. Do you remember Strawberries?
I don't.
Oh, dude, on Bald Hill Road. Do you remember the FYE that was there, the big one?
No.
Oh, it's like a Men's Warehouse now, but it used to be FYE, and before that it was a place called Strawberries. And Strawberries was like this awesome store, great branding, great marketing, just a cool place. It was a music store, they sold Blu-rays, DVDs, and that kind of stuff. And then FYE came and bought them. And as soon as it became FYE, I was like, nah. To this day, I don't like FYE.
No.
Strawberries was a really cool store. You'd get a gift card that was a basket of strawberries. It's just clever. Anyways.
Yes.
Wexford has strawberries.
Wexford has great strawberries.
Real strawberries.
Real ones, not a store.
Not the store.
And they're known for their opera festival, I imagine. And on Curracloe Beach is where they shot that opening scene in Saving Private Ryan, where a bunch of dudes get thrown into like a wood chipper.
Nice.
That was bullets. That actually happened too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. History sucks sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. History sucks a lot of the time.
Yeah. But I haven't been back in about 5 years. Again, I'm very sad about that. But in like 2018 and before 2020, basically, there was this cheap flight that would go over from, I think it was like Air Norwegian or something like that.
Yeah.
And you pay like pennies on the dollar to get over there, which is insane because you're going across the fucking Atlantic. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost cheaper than going like to the middle of the country in the U.S.
Yeah.
From Rhode Island.
No, it was absurd.
Yeah. So, 2018, me and my ex decided to go, have some fun, see the family for a little bit. And we went out to Dublin because, of course, right?
Yeah.
And so we get an Airbnb in the middle of the city. And, like, it's a beautiful fucking place. It had a fucking great fucking time, dude. And we saw all the stuff, St. Stephen's Green, Book of the Kells, and, like, all that stuff.
Sure.
And then my favorite thing, because I am known to get 3 sheets to the wind sometimes, was going to the Guinness Storehouse.
Sure.
Which I fucking love, but it ruined me.
Yeah.
It ruined me.
Yeah.
As a person.
No, because you'll never get that quality of Guinness again unless you go back.
I will, because there are lots of places in Ireland to get great pints of Guinness.
Yeah, in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as they say, Guinness doesn't travel.
Right.
It especially doesn't, it barely travels to England.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, there's a marked difference between the quality of a Guinness that you get in, like, southern England than to, like, Northern Ireland or below.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day, that, like, you can either get those cans with the aerated crap, or it's, like, the bottle.
It's...
I think the bottle's okay, but it's not my favorite flavor of beer, basically, so it's like,
But this one was fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, had the mustache then, had the beer mustache. It was very cute. We took some pictures. I got a picture of me, like, in one of the Disney stores in Dublin, because that's what you do when you go to a place. You go to the Disney store.
Yeah, sure.
Got a bunch of shit in there. And it's me, like, fighting the Hulk. So, bam. And so, Dublin trip was amazing. I recommend you going there. You can go to all, like, the big tourist attractions, because it is a very tourist city.
Yeah.
I had great Mexican food in Dublin. Like, what the fuck?
Not surprised.
Like, but I would recommend going to, like, other parts of Ireland, because it's really fucking small, and you can get almost anywhere in, like, max 3 or 4 hours. So, go and take a trip. We took a trip from Dublin on a Greyhound bus to Wexford County to see my family.
As you do.
As you do. But this wasn't any fucking Greyhound bus. Actually, it's pretty, like, common for a Greyhound bus to think of it. Because we got on the bus. It's like 6:30 in the morning. It's like a 2.5 hour trip, I think, like that. Something like that. And we go all the way to the back. But not all the way to the back, because there's somebody already there. We went to the next seat from the back. Right. Because we're cool. And that's where cool kids sit. And so we get underway. Everyone's in, doing all their shit, playing on their tablets and whatever. And from behind, from the tip of my cauliflowered ear, I hear foil crinkling. And foil crinkling, there are times to hear it. You know what I mean? There are times to hear it when you're like, oh, I'm baking something.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's opening a sandwich.
Yeah. In the back of a bus, this is not
right.
what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because immediately my mind went to, and I was correct, someone's chasing the dragon on the fucking bus here.
Yeah.
And they were.
Yeah.
So it was like 2 hours of me sitting there next to my ex and just smelling this god-awful, because they're burning like pills.
Yeah.
And then, like, taking hose. I've never done it, but I've watched enough true crime fucking TV to know what it is. And I went through Dare and shit, so I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
The grossest shit. It stinks.
Yeah.
It's revolting. And anyway, so you'd think the bus driver would, like, say, hey, knock it off back there. That's not cool to be doing in the back of a bus. And then the guys would be like, well, it is the back of a bus. And the bus driver would be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You'd hope he'd say something at least, but
something,
no.
anything. Open the window.
Yeah.
It was packed in there. And so we're about halfway through the trip, and these guys are just going at it. They're talking shit back and forth and, like, mumbling, and, like, it felt very, like, potentially dangerous.
Potentially dangerous.
So I was just sitting there, and I was like, all right, man, if they fucking do anything, if they try anything, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I got my steel-toed boots on. They let me through the airport with boots. Steel-toed boots. The boot for the skull-crushing man. Just bam, like De Niro in Goodfellas, just like kicking the shit.
Or Ed Norton in American History X. Which is like the worst moment of his life. Immediately you see the look on his face and he realizes what he's done and he's like, oh my God.
I've told you this before. You can't bring up American History X. William. Let's go, buddy. There we are.
Down he goes.
There we are. He'll be back. I told you before, you can't bring up American History X to someone who looks like me.
Yeah, I can. I just did.
No.
I just did.
I look like the American History X guy, like one of the characters that didn't get a redemption story. And I think you fucking know that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like...
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
God's,
You have so many tattoos, I think that people would look and just assume one of them is a swastika.
It's not the tattoos.
There isn't.
There isn't.
But I think that it's...
It's not the tattoos. It's the big-ass bald head and the fact that I'm, like, as white as I am.
No, I don't think that's it. I think it's the tattoos and the bald head. I think that's the whole package.
And then I'll just be one of those guys who's like, I'm just really into history.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
History Channel's always on, you know, in the background. I'm like, who still has TV? But anyway, so we pull up to this middling spot and people are getting off, people are getting on. You know, like a bus.
Yeah.
And one of the guys... And it was more annoying because it was the guy with the window seat climbing over the dude and, like, putting his, like, hand on my rest. I'm sorry, LaPlante. Putting his hand on my, like, seat rest. So you get jostled, you know. And I'm already, like, you know.
Yeah, on edge.
Vibing with it, you know. Vibing with it. And Max is like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm just fucking doing that thing that dudes do when they're, like, really pissed off. Yeah, it's... Yeah. A lot of snorts. Like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this guy gets off the bus, and there's a little shop outside of the bus. So, you know, like buy your newspaper, buy, like, lottery tickets, that type of shit. You know, nothing big, but a little small thing there. And the bus driver proceeds to, like, close the door because we're moving. You know.
Sure.
Like a bus.
As you do on a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, this guy gets in an argument with the bus driver, and he's doing that thing of like, hey, man, I just need to go in there real quick. I'll be real quick. Just let me... But Irish. I'll be real quick. Just let me in there. His eyes didn't open for the entire conversation. And like, I'll be real quick. I promise. I just got to get something. I got to call my... I got, like, the excuses.
Yeah.
That someone doing...
Which, like, as somebody who has ridden the bus,
yeah.
Just fucking wait for the next bus.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So if you're chasing the dragon in the back of a bus,
yeah,
that line of thinking is not there for you.
No, for sure.
It's like violence and pleasure. That's it. That's all they think of. That's all that dude was thinking of. I read his mind. I was like, hey, Professor X. I knew. I knew that that's what it was. Anyway, it takes about 20 minutes for this to get this guy back on the bus. Because I feel for the bus driver. If it was just him, he would have driven off.
Yeah.
Driven off.
But his buddy's back there.
We got fucking dumbass number 2 in the back seat right behind me, still smoking, in a stopped bus. No windows open. So it's like a cloud over you. I felt like greasy afterwards. You know what I mean? And anyway, he gets back on. Those two fuck off at like 3 or more stops down the line. Way too long for me.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting to Wexford. Fucking beautiful Wexford. So beautiful. I miss it dearly. I miss it like it's a part of me that is missing right now.
Yeah.
To not be there, you know. And We have a great time. We walk around the town of Wexford, see they have a great shoreline there. It's fucking beautiful. And we went to Eden Vale. It's like a nature walk preserve that's been there since like God was a boy. So very cool. Old like broken down stone windmill at the end of it. It's fucking beautiful for pictures, And we just had a great time. A lot of drinking was had in Ireland.
Yeah, overall a good trip.
It was a fucking great trip.
One crack-sized speed bump.
Yeah.
But,
It's always a fucking great trip.
Yeah.
Green as can be.
Yeah.
As can be.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my first story. And
Wow.
I hope you liked it.
I went to New York City a bunch in my life. So far, I just came back about a month ago now, but from a trip to New York City that was like great. I like going there. I like being a tourist.
Yeah.
Just farting around, their city. And
there is a lot of farting.
But I used to go with people. I went as a kid. We went to see the Radio City Rockettes. When I got older, I took my advisory, which is like my homeroom from high school. We went senior year for a trip to New York. Then I went with like one person to Colbert Report. You and I went to the Daily Show.
Yep.
I brought another friend to the Daily Show, or my cousin and his now fiance. And, I've been to the city with a bunch of people, and then I just started going alone because it became like too much of a hassle to bring people. Like at a certain point, it just got to like, I just want to go to the city and do the stuff I want to do. And I can do that as a single person, like really easily. But with people, it's always like a hassle.
There's always like one person who throws a wrench into the works of an already broken machine,
Yes. When I went with the Boy Scouts in 2005 or 6, we saw the Radio City Rockettes. And then we're trying to get back to Radio City Music Hall to make the show. And my stepmom starts a fight with a cabbie who's got like the off-duty light on the top of his cab. And I just go up to her and I'm like, hey, his light is on that says he's off duty. Like maybe we should find another cab. And she just turned around like, don't tell me what to do. It's like, oh, like, okay, lady. Fine. So I, the next time that I went was when I was in high school. And, like I said, I brought my advisory with me and everything like that. But the guys and the girls in that classroom, the guys would stay in the back of the room. We'd play Quake or we'd do other things. And the girls would stay in the front of the room and they'd, talk to each other about whatever. They'd bring coffee for each other. And, they were much closer friends than we were. But they got to the city and immediately went to like Fifth Avenue. And we're just like shopping the whole day, doing, fun stuff. But like they just broke off from the group and we couldn't find them. Meanwhile, we went to like FAO Schwartz. I got a Muppet, which is, currently in Montana being repaired. And then I've got a couple of friends who went into Bergdorf Goodman, like tried on bathing suits and took pictures of themselves and stuff like that, just because it was, funny.
Yeah.
We went all over. We went to, places we were going to go. And then we were supposed to meet at the Rockefeller Christmas tree and then make it to the Port Authority bus station, which is on like 43rd or something like that. So it's way further south in the city than Rockefeller Plaza. And the girls stopped responding to texts. We couldn't get them on the phone. They weren't there on time to meet us. So it's coming down to the wire. And then the girls round the corner into Rockefeller Plaza and we see them and like run up to them and we're like, hey guys, we got to run now. We have to run to the bus because we're going to be late. And if we're late, that means we're not going to get home on time. If we're not home on time, it becomes a much bigger problem.
Right.
Because not only would we not be home, but the teacher who did this took responsibility for all the students. If we didn't get home on time, then it's on her.
Yeah.
And it makes this huge nightmare out of this thing that she did for us because we were seniors and we knew her for 4 years. And so we're like, we have to run. So we just start booking it from Rockefeller Plaza down the street. And it was like the scene in Home Alone 2 with the whole family running through the airport. But it's like 20 high school kids and our teacher and her husband just booking it through the streets of New York, passing people. People are like seeing us doing this and like moving out of our way or like laughing along with us. We ran the whole way down. We get to the Port Authority bus station, just collapse into the Peter Pan bus. And it was like, I don't have the photo anymore, I think. If I do, I'll put it up on the screen right now. But I don't think I have the photo anymore. It was like the most relieved I have ever been melting into that chair. Because it was just like, oh, thank God. And then we rode the fucking bus home, which, sucks. And it was one of those buses where you could tell that the seat was just full of farts.
Oh,
like if you hit it with a hammer, it would like...
You'd see it in the air.
Yeah, you'd see the poop powder. Yeah. So I took the bus mostly after that from Providence to the city because they did this megabus for a while. That was super cheap. But this bus was like a $90 Peter Pan trip. The megabus was literally $5.50. Like $2 each way. Don't understand how that works. And then 50 cents for a booking fee. And that was it. That was what you paid for the entire trip down to New York and back up. And I would get the free tickets to the Daily Show or the Colbert Report. And then I'd go down. And we got to see... You and I were the ones with the protest, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a big protest outside.
Campbell Brown was there just talking about something to do with tenured teachers having too much power in New York City. Basically, like... There was some overreach by the union that she was speaking out against because parents were getting involved, and like there were some teachers that needed to, get out, and they wouldn't. Yeah, so teachers' union showed up on the front stairs of the Colbert Report, and this is like 2014. News cameras showed up, and Stephen Colbert should be ashamed giving somebody like this a platform and all this crap. And then as soon as they stopped rolling on the news story for the night, everybody packed up and left. Just gone. It was like this chaos, like, oh man, we're like going to be on the news because, this thing is a big deal, I guess. And we're sitting there, and then as soon as the camera stopped rolling, it was like, let's get out of here.
Get out of here.
And
they all dropped their signs.
Yeah, that was an important lesson about politics, that it's all just performative bullshit. That's all it is. It's there for 5 minutes, and then immediately afterwards, it's gone. When we were in the show, they mentioned, we had protesters outside, and somebody called out from the audience, like, teachers deserve this. They deserve their rights or something, like some old teacher was in the audience. And even then, she had like a pretty calm and reasoned, like, well, I'm working with an organization that does this or that, and the teachers have taken offense to it, and they really shouldn't. And, I have the episode of the Colbert Report still. And I've gone through and watched it a couple of times, but it's one of those things where it's like, why was this even a thing? But, the other times that I went, I got to see Tenacious D there at the Daily Show, which was awesome. I got to see John Oliver host the Daily Show because it was the summer that Rosewater was being filmed. So Jon Stewart was out and John Oliver was in for him. So I have a ticket that's from that date. Colin Quinn was the guest, so that was pretty cool. And every time that I went, I just kept on finding other stuff in the city that I liked. So, now I go to Joey Rose's when I go to the city.
Oh,
last year I saw The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which was just a great show to go see. Got to see James Taylor perform that day, which was awesome. I just like going to New York City a lot.
Let me bring up something that you said, and it pisses me off. Are you telling me, at least at a time, you could go to New York for $5, but you have to pay $8 to cross that fucking monstrosity of bridge to get to Newport?
Yeah. No, it's not $8 to cross over to Newport. It's like $1.25.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was $8.
No.
I'm wrong.
The resident price, public service announcement, if you need to update your Easy Pass, check your Easy Pass account and make sure that there's enough money in it. But it's very, very cheap for residents to go across, and all you have to do is prove that you have a Rhode Island license, and then you get that rate.
You just pull it out of the cereal box that everybody else in Rhode Island gets their license from.
Right.
And then you give it to them, and they're like, I guess so.
Yeah, Chex Mix.
Slap your horse, and you're on your way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's... This state, I don't understand how they're giving out licenses to some of these people, but hey, whatever, more power to them.
I guess so.
The old man who can't see anymore is driving an old beaten up minivan with bad suspension and brakes, and he's just gonna ram his car into me one day. That's what's gonna happen.
His muffler is dragging 3 feet behind the car, sparks everywhere and shit.
Pretty much.
Great.
Well, yeah, overall, New York is just one of those places that I could go to anytime, but I don't know if I'd want to live there. I think that it would be all right, but it would also be like, it's just so much overstimulation all the time, which is why I liked living in Providence. If I could live in Providence and travel to New York and work there, like, that would be amazing. Well, I'm trying to think. What, you got another one?
I got another one.
You got another one?
Got another one, baby. I'm shooting from the hip today.
I don't know if he does.
I do. So, we're going out to Arizona. This was a couple... God. You are just unpleasant as a person. Oh. It's like the worst ASMR ever. Ever. That's you. As a person. Not just when you're doing it. It's like your vibe I get from you. It's gross. And I wish you would change it about yourself. But even then, I think I'd hold it against you because you were once that way, you know?
I know what I am.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I'm just as the Lord made me.
Oh, you're going that route with it. Okay. All right. So Arizona. This was a couple of years ago. Me and my ex, we went down to Arizona. She had family out there. And we were in Tucson. Great city. I liked it a lot. Great entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, awesome nightlife. Hot as balls. But, you know, that's what you get when you're in the Old West. Right? So, we're out.
Is it now?
Yes.
It's hot in the Old West, you say?
It is. They're not lying in the movies.
Hot in Topeka.
Ooh.
That hurt.
I bet. I'm concerned. What the fuck was that?
That's my arm.
Ugh. Get it away. Get it away. Stuff it in your shirt. Thank you.
Let's get back on track.
Back on track, like a train, like traveling.
So you were talking about going to Ireland, I think it was.
Ireland, yes. I went to Ireland.
No, we talked about Ireland already. Jesus,
I don't know what you're doing.
Christ.
You keep saying we're going to cut things.
This is going to be chaos when I'm editing this.
Oh,
This is going to be a nightmare.
You did it. You did it.
I did, but there's something off today. There's something off again.
I don't feel it.
I definitely feel it.
I don't feel it.
You got one pupil bigger than the other. Anybody ever tell you that?
No. It's probably because there's a light there and not coming from that way, so I'm getting like a...
That's the bigger one.
I don't know.
Why is God not smiling down on us?
So for my next trip, we're going out to Arizona.
Start that intro again.
So for my next
Give
trip,
it a second. And then start it again.
So for my next
That
trip,
was too long. Well, after I say give it a second, you gotta wait 1 second. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. We just don't want the audio overlapping. So if I say give it a second, you go, okay, and then we're back. And then we just, talking like normal.
I don't know what any of this is. So for my next trip, we're going out to Arizona.
Give it a second.
I did. I gave it a second. I literally did the thing you did. I literally fucking did it. You saw me.
Give it a second, man. Yeah, that's right. Do your drugs.
Yeah. You made me do this.
Hey. Give it a second. Too long.
I don't. Time is just going. What do you mean? Give it a second. It's all one thing. It continues to go.
Give it a second.
So for my next trip, we're going out to Arizona.
That was perfect. That was exactly what you need to do. That way we don't waste tape.
There's... Don't start me talking.
This is Don't Start Me Talking. With Bennie Williams.
And Rick Owens. I don't know who I am anymore.
We're 40 minutes into this recording.
40 minutes.
We're almost, 43 minutes into this recording.
All right.
And 15 minutes of that is pure garbage.
Pure
That we're going to cut.
hot garbage. You're a real bastard. You know that?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
So-
All right. We're on to a place that you lived,
Yes.
but you didn't live there yet.
Right.
Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson, Arizona. Yes. I went and visited with my ex out in Tucson, Arizona. She had family out there.
Give it a second.
Great city. It's a great city. It's a great place.
No, start from the top. So Ireland. No. Sorry. I'm sorry. My energy is not. It's not good.
So before I moved out to Tucson, Arizona, I went to visit with my ex because she had family out there, and we were, just taking a nice trip, meeting the father, who I did not ask to, for his blessing to marry his daughter. So it was kind of a big deal. Anyway, that went great. We went out there. We're staying for a couple of days, seeing the stuff. Going to like Cane's Chicken. The restaurant.
Raising
Cane's Chicken. Raising Cane's Chicken. And I'm out in Arizona.
No. Start from the beginning.
Oh, God damn it, man.
Tucson. So I hear that you took a trip out to Tucson, Arizona.
Yes, I took a trip out to Tucson, Arizona with my ex. Before we moved there, her father was living out there, so we went to take a trip. And I went out to get my get the blessing to pop the question to her, which I had already done, and he was not happy about.
Well, yeah, but
So we're out in Tucson, Arizona, and having a great time. It's a great city, has a great nightlife. Lots of like clubs and bars and everything like that.
Sure.
And one of the days we went out to Tombstone, Arizona, like the movie.
Wyatt Earp?
Doc Holliday? The whole lot. The gang of the lads,
Yeah.
Doc Holliday and the boys.
Sure.
And it's
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, Val Kilmer. It's just Val Kilmer out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not doing well.
No,
And
I heard.
I'm sad about that. I'm really sad about that,
I don't know him.
I don't know him either. I know of him.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
I don't know him, though.
Yeah. So we're out in Tombstone, and we're going through the whole like historical city. It's basically, you go through, and there's a lot of tours, there's a lot of reenactments, and there's a lot of people walking around in older dress like you would back in the day there. And I, at that time, had the same mustache, had paisley shirt on, jeans, and boots. So I was looking the part too without meaning to. But I also had the plugs in.
Yeah.
So I figured that put me, enough away to where people wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, come on in. You're missing you got to be on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm out there, and we see the last shootout. This is the end of the tour.
OK Corral.
The end of the tour. Everyone's about to leave, exit through the gift shop, that type of thing,
Right.
And as I'm walking out, again, it was amazing. Definitely recommend it if you're out there. Go see it.
Yeah, for sure.
And as I'm walking out, I feel a tap on my shoulder. And I'm like, huh? What the fuck? And I turn around, and there's this elderly German man. And he's like, oh, excuse me, could I please get a photo with you? And I'm like, why? And like he's got like two like kids or grandkids with him, and they're both, Grandpa, he's not part of the show. He's not part. He's like, no, I just want to please. So I take a picture with this guy
outside Tombstone.
Outside of Tombstone, I've got like my fake sheriff's badge on, so I guess that maybe that he saw that and he was like, so it's just me and this elderly gentleman like here. So I'm up on a mantelpiece somewhere in like Dusseldorf,
You're not on the mantle. Let's be honest.
I'm in the bathroom in Dusseldorf somewhere.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a bedside table. He kisses everything. Good night, little munchin.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
Like, he came up to me. He was like, "Mein Gott." You know what I mean? I have to get the picture quickly. But yeah, and then great trip all around. I love fucking Tucson, man. I love Arizona. It is hot as hell in the summer months. It's like 115
For sure.
during the day, like every day, and then like 80 at night. But winters, you get like 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let me hand the torch to you for your next one.
So, for my next one, I want to talk about road tripping, traveling. Because I've done it now twice. I went down the country and I went back up. I've gone to New York a couple of times by car. Not a big fan of that. I really preferred taking the train this year. But when you're driving down to Florida,
Yeah.
and you have all of your possessions in your car, it's like a terrifying couple of days. Because like at any moment you could go off the road. You don't know if your car can take this much weight because it's literally all of my stuff just crammed into this car. And it's a, Mini Countryman. I love my car, but it was a bad idea to do it. I couldn't see out of the back mirror. It was that stuffed. And I'm driving down the road and I could like hardly see out of the mirror on my right.
Yeah.
So I'm taking chances and I'm not happy about doing this. To make matters worse, I get down on the second day because I stopped in North Carolina the first day and stopped at a hotel. And the second day I'm going through South Carolina and Georgia, and it was right after Hurricane Irma. So everything is torn up. Everything is ruined.
Yeah.
I get to this place in Georgia where like the gas station is just like lines of cars. And there was a sign at the front of the state, like as you come in from South Carolina, that's like, just FYI, like get gas now. Because after you pass a certain point, like there's nothing. And I had 3/4 of a tank, and I'm like, I'll be fine. And then I get down all the way through Georgia, and I get to like exit 28 or something. And right then, it's like, oh, I need gas. Yeah. And I get off, and I'm like looking for places. Every gas station for miles is closed. And I'm in the backwoods of Georgia. There's these guys that are like burning branches on their front lawn because there's so much debris and stuff. But as soon as I see like a bonfire, I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I just keep on driving down, and I find a gas station. It's completely boarded up and closed. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And like no damage or anything, but it was just like precaution because it was so bad down there. And I find a bunch of cops. And I pull up to them, and I'm nervous about the car because I don't want to get stopped for like, oh, you got too much stuff in your car or anything like that. And I just said to the person, listen, I'm the dumbest person you're going to meet today. I'm really sorry, but like I saw the signs and I didn't stop for gas. Is there anywhere around I can get gas? And they were like, all right, go back up to exit 29. There's a rest stop up there that's open right now. It was the one that I passed with all the fucking cars. And it's like, oh, all right. Like, figured it would be like an hour, and that would cut out some time. I'm trying to get down there before too late because I'm trying to meet my new roommate and stuff like that day. So I get in, and fortunately a spot opened up as I drove up, and I was just like, oh, thank God. Went in, paid, came back out, did my business, got back on the road, drove all the way down, and then got to Florida. And I lived there for a year, and I just saw the worst accidents I've ever seen in Florida. One of them, I was in the left turn lane, and for whatever reason, I just decided to move 2 lanes over to the right, and I was like, I'll take the next left turn at the next thing. So I went to a clear lane, and right as I did, a car came up and just slammed into the car I was in back of. And it was a van that got slammed into by a sedan. The sedan was driven by some girl in a bikini and her boyfriend, and they totaled their car, like immediately, just like gone. They get out, they're fine, and just pissed off that like, oh, who put this van here? And then the 8 people in the van get out, and I was just like, oh my God. So I actually called the cops and like made sure that they got there before I left. But it was just one of those things that was just like terrifying. And if I hadn't moved, it would have been me.
Yeah.
And if that happened to me, that would have ruined my entire time in Florida. Like that would have been probably like a huge problem for me because that was my only transportation. I had no way to get back up to Rhode Island. Big problems. Another one that I saw that I loved was these two cars were coming to the same turn. One of them was a car-carrying truck.
Yeah.
So it had like 6 cars in the back of it, and the other one was like this tiny sports car. And the sports car tried to edge out the car carrier, but the car carrier was already halfway through. So what happened was the guy just wedged underneath the car carrier and got crushed. Ooh. And another one where he just got out and he was like, "My car!" Yeah. And it's like, dude, like, do you realize you almost just died? Like,
yeah, like
you for no reason. Like, you could have waited 5 seconds and it would have been fine. I was driving on the road in the next lane over from the left turn lane, and this girl just turned out of the left turn lane and hit me. No blinker, no nothing. She was in the middle of a line of cars, just decided she was going the wrong way and took a chance.
Yeah.
Hits my back tire. Fortunately, not too much damage on my car, just like cosmetic stuff. Her car completely fucked. And we stop, and I'm talking to this girl, and she's like, "I wasn't supposed to be driving the car. It's my boyfriend's car." Oh. So then it becomes this situation where I'm like, "Look, you gotta tell him. I'll stay here with you, make sure you're okay. But like, if you don't tell him and you just like park his car in the driveway, and he comes home and he sees this giant rubber stain on the front of his new car, with bad damage on her end, like, he's not going to be happy, and he'll never trust you again.
Yeah,
like you need to talk this out." So I don't know what happened after that. Never heard from them again. But that was an awful, awful situation. And it just tainted my whole view of Florida because, like, outside of the parks and everything, that's all you got. And I've been to the parks a bunch of times. My favorite time going to the parks was the time that the toilet in our room was clogged, and I waited for 4 hours for somebody to come and unclog it because they don't give you a plunger in hotel rooms. They don't trust you. So I'm waiting all night for this person to come. Nobody from maintenance ever comes. A golf cart pulls up, and this woman gets out, and she's wearing like a nice blouse and like slacks. And I'm just looking down at her, and she picks up a roll of toilet paper and gets off the car. And I just go, "Hey, I'm assuming that you're not here to unclog the toilet." And she goes, "I thought you needed toilet paper." And I was like, "No." And so I just said, like, "Come on up, I'll show." And like, showed her the toilet was clogged and stuff, and explained to her, like, you guys are using a service that I used at one of my jobs, and is a desk somewhere in India. They get your request, they funnel it through their computer system, and they send it back to you. Now, for stuff that we were doing at my company, kind of made sense to use them. For Disney, for guest management, doesn't make any sense at all. And they signed this contract with them, and basically, like, they put into the phone line, the phone operator was from India, put in, client in room needs, or guest in room needs toilet paper, instead of needs toilet unclogged, or like needs maintenance.
Yeah.
And that went through their system, and it just came out the other end as like, "Go bring them toilet paper." And I called so many times that they thought I was going to be like an irate guest. So I just reasoned with her and was like, "Look, I've just been waiting all night. I was supposed to go and do stuff. It's Disney. I'm stuck waiting for the toilet because my stomach is like on fire, and I need to use it, and it is now completely clogged. There's no way to solve this in my room. We're in this big villa because I knew Disney Vacation Club members, and there's no plunger, there's no anything." So I end up, just saying to her, I used to work at a hotel. This stuff happens all the time. I totally understand, but like, I need to go.
Yeah.
And so she goes, "Look, my favorite part of this job is I get to give out Mickey Mouse's money. So tomorrow, come down to the counter, and there will be in your room number's name, there will be an envelope waiting for you." And she said, "I'm not sure how much I can get you. I know I can get you at least $100, but it'll be cash. You can spend it in the parks. You can take it with you, whatever you want to do." So I got $150 of Mickey Mouse's money and blew it on Mai Tais by the pool with my cousin's fiance.
That's the most expensive shit you didn't take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was one of those like, "Oh, it'll save us money if we don't have people in our office." And that just always leads to communication problems. That's all it leads to.
Yeah, whenever you have like a communication thing like that, I don't know why so many people do it, so many companies do it. They're just, "Hey, let's add a middleman."
Yeah.
For no reason.
That's exactly what it was. They were the middlemen for no good reason. And it didn't save us enough money for it to be worth it. It was just a nightmare.
And let's get the least competent to do it, too.
Yeah.
Disney? You don't have the money to do it?
No, seriously, they really screwed the pooch on that one. But I've been to Disney quite a few times now, and I love going to the parks. I love doing all that stuff. But as I've gotten older, it just becomes like, I've kind of seen it all. It's all the same. I love Rock and Roller Coaster to death, but other than that, like most of the rides, you can either get it somewhere else or it's just it's not there forever anymore. So like a lot of the stuff keeps getting pasted over with new, it's a different ride now. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy or I understand why they did it with Splash Mountain, but turning Splash Mountain into The Princess and the Frog. It's like, but now it's got a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
At the same time, we can't acknowledge the existence of the Disney official Tar Baby. So like, that's not cool anymore, right?
No,
that
I don't believe
movie,
it ever was cool.
No, that whole movie, Song of the South, is
awful.
It's
awful,
unbelievable that it even got made. Like at the time it was made, people can go and be like, "Oh, it was the 50s, blah blah blah." At the time it was made, there are contemporary reviews of like African American people who were soldiers, who are now working at newspapers, going, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
right?
They had no idea why it was even made. But I love going to Disney. I love all the history of that stuff. I think it's fascinating. That whole area is like a fascinating place to be. But if you live there, you have to understand, it's like strip malls and nothing. I mean, like, there's a few bars here and there. There's a few clubs. There's a few places for, like, the students to go from my school, which was Full Sail University.
Yeah.
There was a comic shop across the street that was also had, like, a speakeasy in the back called the Geek Easy. They got caught up in some big scandal right after I left. Like, it was like living in a strip mall. And every 5 miles or something as you go down the main roads, it just repeats. It's like, oh, there's a Neiman Marcus and a Old Navy and a Macaroni Grill, and then you go down to the next one and it's like, oh, look, a J.C. Penney and a Marshall's and an Olive Garden, and you go down to the next one. It's like carbon copies of the same place over and over and over again. Oh, another Target, like
same people too.
Yeah, dude, literally. I liked being down there. I would never live in Florida again.
Oh no. Why would you?
But traveling has its ups and downs.
It certainly does.
I think the ups are mostly when you're in like a plane.
Yeah.
Because you go into the sky. And the downs are mostly if you go like down a hill.
Or in a tunnel, because you're actually underground or underwater sometimes.
I think that most of the trips I've taken have been good. There have been a few hiccups here and there.
Yeah.
I went to Disney with my family in 2004, and when we first got down there, it was like all the newspapers were like, breaking news, coldest weather we've seen in Florida in 10 years, and it's like, I'm afraid we're going to have a low of 35 today. Yeah. And we're from Rhode Island. We're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. We went out, it was like, 50, 60 every day. It was nothing. And like not even what they said, because at that point they weren't very good at forecasting the weather. It was the week that the Space Shuttle Columbia went up into space for the last time, so I got to see that from our place was in Kissimmee at that time.
Nice.
And I mean, like, it was mostly good. There was just one, like, there was like a family problem that caused my stepmom to be like just an asshole the whole time. So that's always fun. The next time we went, we brought her family along, and that kind of alleviated some of it. But, like, the first thing that happened, we walked into Animal Kingdom, and my cousin, which is her niece, just poured water on my head. Like, as I'm walking in to start my day in Disney, and I just freaked out on her. And, like turned around. I was in, like, 7th grade, and I was just like, fuck this, fuck you.
Yeah, as you should be.
So the next year, we didn't go to Disney. We went to a cruise, which was down to Nassau.
Right.
And I've been on 2 cruises in my life. This one was the Norwegian Spirit. It was the week that the Virginia Tech massacre happened. So if you want to look up the dates, there's also a storm called the Nor'easter of April 2007. And if you look it up, there are pictures of it from the satellite on Wikipedia. It was like a big storm. We went down during that in a boat. And you're going over these, like, perfect storm waves, just like, crashing over the front bow of the boat. We're talking to crew members who are saying, I've been on this boat for 10 years. We've never gone through weather like this, ever. Like, there's stabilizers on the boat. There's no reason for this to be happening. Yeah. This is nuts. They had to hand out free Dramamine. We got those bracelets, those sea bracelets. And then it was just a miserable week of people vomiting. Like, I got sick the night that we were supposed to go to the Italian restaurant. Fortunately, I heard the Italian restaurant was bad.
Normally, you get sick after going to the Italian restaurant.
Hey. Taking shots.
That's
taking
it.
Shots.
Right
I got to go to the
bow.
French restaurant. I had duck l'orange. I hated it. But we had this experience that nobody else ever, I think, gets to have, which is like we were relatively safe in this giant cruise ship.
Yeah.
But we're going over these crazy waves, so we went up to the front. The very front of the ship had a bar that's like the first 180 degrees of the ship. It's like the bridge. And you can sit there and you can see out onto the ocean, and they had these easy chairs that lined that whole 180 degrees. My cousin, my brothers, and I sat in 4 of these chairs with like these fake kid daiquiris, right? In these funny Norwegian Spirit cups. And we just sat like a roller coaster with our arms like feet down, arms on the thing, just like riding this.
Yeah.
Riding the waves. Unbelievable experience. And then I, from that time on, was like, I'm never doing a cruise again.
Yes.
I will never do a cruise again. We almost died. It was really bad. We went down during that storm, get to Nassau. It is crystal clear blue water.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like perfect weather. We go back up. There's a tornado cyclone off the coast. So we went right back into it. And it was days of just feeling like you're going to throw up the whole time. The boat shifting. I walked into this area of the boat. There was a little galley where you could get fish and chips, and then there was a casino. And I'm walking between the galley and the hallway where the casino is, and this woman just projectile vomits. Right smacks into the wall in front of me.
Ugh.
And it was like the most like Reptile from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So I'm never going on a cruise again. And then my cousin, who I went to Disney with every time, his aunt and uncle offered me a ticket on a Disney cruise. And they were like, it's a 4-day thing. We go down to Nassau, we come back up, and then we do the parks for 7 days. Easily the best vacation I think I've ever taken. I think that was the one where I got the money for Mickey Mouse, although that might have been a different one. And just when I was on the Norwegian one, it felt like it was catered to adults, and I was a kid. And I didn't like that. The Disney one is catered to kids and Disney adults. Disney adults who like drinking. They have one bar that leads into another bar that leads into another bar. So if you really need to get away from the kids, there are places. There are adults-only sections of the ship. There's adults-only clubs. There's bars. There's a pool with... this is the Disney Dream. There's a pool with a bar in it. Like swim-up bar. Unbelievable experience as a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Just like, the world is my oyster.
Fresh-faced.
Yes.
Swimming in that bar pool that probably is just 90% piss.
Probably. But I mean, good filters.
Yeah.
I had a blast on that ship. I thought that was the greatest thing. And I was like, after that, I said I would probably go on a cruise again.
Right.
And then COVID happened, and I saw that Last Ship documentary, and I was like,
nope. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that was a bad one.
Yeah, let me get locked in my tiny cruise ship cabin in fucking China because, we're afraid of this disease, and now you guys can't leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm an American citizen. Get me back to America now. I'm not a fan of that whole idea anymore. Because now it's like, now we're on the ship with all the contagions and all the sicknesses and all the illnesses. I think that was the trip I got the sickest during when I went on the cruise and then I went to Disney. And by the end of the Disney trip, I had to like sit in the airport and just wait to go home because I was just like overcome with allergy and everything else. But I'd say out of all the things that I've traveled by boat, traveled by plane, car, and train. I think I like the car the most just for the convenience of getting in and out of wherever you're going. But I really love the train.
The train is the creme de la creme.
They need to improve it. We need to have fast rail in this country, like all the other countries in the world. Once again, it's another thing that's just like
We don't do it.
Joey B, you know, you like trains so much, fix them.
Yeah.
Like, make them better. Amtrak is finally losing their monopoly on train travel, which is great. But, yeah, we need better trains. That's my takeaway from this whole thing. Do you have any others?
No, that's my trips.
That's your trips. My trips also were in this podcast.
They were. This is Don't Start Me Talking.
I'm Bennie Williams.
I'm Rick Owens. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.